Well, let's get going here as people start to trickle in. Alex, we'll start with you and have you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you, and then we'll just go around and I'll let everyone give a little brief intro.
Yeah, absolutely. Colonel Goldberg, I am currently the Chief Innovation Officer for the Texas Military Department. We have about 24,000 people, about 60 armories, 3 air bases, F-16, C-130s, MQ-9s, a whole number of different platforms in the air and the Army. And really, my background, flying F-16s, MQ-9s, so pilot in the Air Force, just finished up as actually, I'm still a fellow at DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. So I'm the Air Force liaison currently. And really, how do I leverage all 24,000 people, all our bases, people, facilities, equipment to tap into the innovation of our communities, right? In Houston, in San Antonio, and in Dallas, in Austin, right? We have 4 of the top 10 largest cities in the country. World's 10th largest economy as a standalone, and what is our role, right? Where we have 75% of us are part-timers. How do I leverage all of that to really help inspire, engage, and support, right? Academia, industry, our own warfighters who have great ideas, and how do we bring them to fruition? How do we leverage all of that to help us solve national security challenges?
That's awesome. Well, thank you. And Brian, let's hear from you. What are you doing? What brings you to Texas Roadshow? I know you guys are doing a lot down in San Antonio, so I'd love a brief overview.
Yeah, so I'm Brian Dillard. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for the City of San Antonio. I've been in the position for about 2 years now. And our team, we service all 40 departments within the City of San Antonio, all 13,000 employees and 1.5 million residents. A lot of things we involve ourselves in is really about how do we do the things we're doing, the services we provide in a better manner. So one of the big programs that we have that kind of ties into the startup space is our CivTech SA program. It's a partnership between the City of San Antonio and one of our local co-work spaces, Geekdom. And what that does, we have about 4 tracks coming out of there, 4 avenues of engagement. One of them is a residency that we go through every year. So we bring in startups into the City of San Antonio. We allow them 16 weeks to embed themselves into the organization. They get to utilize assets, data that we provide to solve civic challenges that we provide to them. So if a department can't figure out how to do something better for our residents across the city, we allow these great minds to come in and implement a solution. And at the end of that, there's the opportunity to procure from them. So the last 3 years, we've procured those companies or those company services, been able to build, some economic impact there. Another tract out of there is 6 through 12, 6 through college. So we embed ourselves in there. We provide them civic challenges, the same kind of approach, and we allow them to work on that. We know some of the most innovative approaches are going to come from outside of government, outside of the folks that see this every day. So we're really excited about engaging the community in that effort and really creating more of a bigger space for innovation, kind of just getting out of just the technology piece and getting into the truly innovative approach. So thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Thank you for being here. And Tony, last but not least, would love for you to give a little bit of an overview about yourself and what brought you to the Texas Roadshow today.
Sure. And Courtney, how do you hear me? Pardon me for the video problem.
No worries. We can hear you great.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Tony Kuklo, 35 years in the Army, 4.5 years at the University of Texas System. So a mix of military and government service and public higher ed. In January of this year, some like-minded folks formed a 501c6 called the National Security Innovation Council, based in Austin, but with a statewide attitude. And the intent of this business nonprofit is to accelerate the linkage between a problem owner in the national security community, pardon me, with a problem-solving capability, hopefully in Texas. I mean, we are biased towards presenting, promoting, and amplifying the differentiated capabilities to solve problems in Texas, but we do want to solve national security problems. So if that means it has to go somewhere else, it goes somewhere else. But we saw that there's a need to network the networks and individuals who are entrepreneurs, industry, small, medium, and large, and academic researchers who are doing incredible work, but little known to those with problems to be solved in the national security community, primarily Department of Defense. And so one thing that senior leaders and decision makers, the empowered decision makers, with the checkbooks in the national security community, what they don't have is time. And what my nonprofit seeks to do is solve their time problems by quickly gathering those possible problem-solving capabilities, presenting them to them, hopefully to amplify and increase investment and research and manufacturing dollars in Texas, but in order to solve problems faster. And I have scar tissue from being on the gosh, I got to solve this problem end in DoD, and I have scar tissue from being on the academic researcher side, where everybody is speaking in tongues, doesn't understand what the problems are, and how do I break through that wall that is the national security community, whether it's policy, law, how do I pay for things? It's so complicated. We seek to interpret, translate, and enable those meetings and accelerate the problem-solving process in Texas. So network the networks in Texas and present problem-solving capabilities to the national security community. And that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. Well, it's great to have all three of you here today, and thank you for joining us. For everyone that's trickling in, my name is Courtney Real. I'm a corporate venture associate here with Capital Factory, and really my role is to help our portfolio companies get to know people like these three gentlemen to help their startups grow and to be able to use alternative sources like DoD financing to be able to fund their companies. So the first question I have for y'all, and you all mentioned it in your intros, is Texas. Why do you think that Texas is a unique place for startups to be able to leverage different organizations within the government to maybe get different kind of customers or different types of funding? And what do you think is drawing this trend in Texas versus maybe either sides of the coast?
I'll jump in here, kick it off. Honestly, from my perspective, and city of San Antonio, kind of specifically within Texas, is the diversity of kind of consumers here. There's a diversity of communities. There's a diversity of disparities, unfortunately, throughout a lot of cities in Texas. So when it comes to the solutions that potential companies are trying to provide, I think there's a spot somewhere in Texas in one of our urban or suburban cities that you can really tap into and identify. Not to mention, kind of regulations in Texas are a little more flexible, I'll say. So I think it allows a lot more of that entrepreneurial spirit, but also that innovative approach for a lot of solutions that they're trying to.
Yeah, no, if I could I'm going to reinforce this, Tony. I'm going to reinforce what Brian said. I think from what I've seen on the now it's a general statement. This is generalization. Okay, so but on the academic research side,